Hey, what's going on guys? RetroPixel here, and I just went through the tour at Ubisoft Toronto for the Motion Capture Studio. It was really great, I gotta say. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully my footage stands up. My apologies, I kind of got shoved aside into one corner at one sort of about halfway point. I'll do what I can in post-production, try and upgrade the audio levels, that kind of thing. But anyways, I'm going to drop you right on into that footage right now.
All these cameras you see around you, they're actually little computers. So they see 2D data. They're looking at these markers. Here, I'll pass some of these out. Oops. So they're 16 megapixel cameras that only see black and white. And black and white seems kind of low fidelity. Why we use black and white? Because what's happening, there's a filter on each camera. So each has their own light source. So the light shines out, hits those markers, and the information will bounce back, but there's a filter between the camera and the marker that will filter out everything but that IR light. So it's just seeing a bunch of, each camera is seeing a bunch of dots, okay? So once 3 of those cameras see those dots, it builds and it triangulates the position of the 3D data, and we're able to see characters in the volume. But before we do that, we have to do something called calibration. So this is called our wand, and the cameras know the distance between each of these markers. So we'll wave this around and just walk around the volume, and all the cameras will then know where each other camera is. So that's a very important tool we have to get done. Then once we have the cameras know where they are, they need to know where the floor is. So we'll calibrate, we'll throw this on the ground, and it'll flip all the cameras so they know where the floor is. And then we can add actors or props or anything to the volume, and we can then capture data. Props we want as real as possible. Here's an example of a sign. So why wouldn't I use a sign? Because we need all these cameras to see through. This is called a non-occlusive prop. Occlusivity is a big issue. So we want a sign, and we don't want the hand of the actor to go through something, but we need the cameras to be able to see through it. So this would be a motion capture prop that's a sign. So yeah, want to add anything?
Yeah, mostly we have so many cameras to avoid occlusivity. So if they see the markers on the front of you, the cameras in front of you can't see the markers on the back of you because you're blocking them. Yeah. So we have cameras behind and all around, so they can see these guys and their markers from every possible angle.
Yeah. So we're going to kick off. You want to kick off a video, Ian, to show some example of our performance capture?
There's two TVs above your head, and try to not touch the truss, please.
What happens now?
I don't know, you tell me.
Little light in the darkness. Go away! Busy.
Wait.
So this shows our process from storyboarding a cutscene to actually capturing actors, and then how it gets displayed in the game.
So are they hearing the audio, or do you add that later? Or?
We do everything all at once. It's all synchronous.
So that's the difference between a motion capture studio and a performance capture studio. So we're capturing everything here. So the body motion is what you see right here. Over here we have our helmet camera. So that is capturing facial animation. These cameras, 120 pictures every second. Those cameras are 60 pictures every second, so we're 60 frames a second. So we're getting like subtle facial motion. We'll put makeup dots in the face, and that camera will then.
It has 3 cameras on the helmet, the head-mounted cameras. This particular rig has 3 cameras, so we can actually triangulate the data on the face and make a 3D model of the face animating that our animators can then use to tweak and enhance the performance.
Yeah, and you'll also notice that the walls are covered in soundproof padding. So basically, anything that's recorded in the studio is also like final audio that we can use in game.
What's the purpose of the glasses?
The glasses.
The glasses have markers on them,
Yeah.
and what we used to use, what the standard mocap thing is a hat. Your hat moves around, so people will come into the volume and their head will be on sideways, and weird, but
Yeah.
glasses go on the same every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So we made our own custom glasses.
Oh,
They're
Yeah. The motion capture hats too, they're made so like a lot of times you can't tell if they're on the right way, so you'll have people walk in the volume, their head's completely on backwards, and so this eliminates that problem for sure.
yeah.
We'll talk about real-time camera. So this is Dustin created this. He's one of our very talented technicians here. So he'll go through some specs of what that thing does.
So the virtual camera, it's not, what it is it's a handheld video camera for the virtual world. It's markered up just like the props and the actors. So the motion capture system knows where this is, and we can actually attach a camera to it, and a virtual camera in the 3D scene. And you can actually walk through this 3D scene and be in the 3D scene recording it. You're not actually in the volume here. You could be on a city skyscraper.
So mainly like our production team would come in and record their scenes, right? And everybody goes home after that. But during post-production, they'll see that, hey, you know what, this camera angle is not working for me. So our director would come in and use a virtual camera. Since everything's already recorded, we'll have the scene playing, the characters and all that stuff, and they'll just basically come in and choose their own shots from there, just to fine tune it.
Yeah, we can do all of the camera coverage afterwards. We don't have to worry about people missing their lines because it's already recorded. Everyone hits their marks. We just come in and add camera coverage as much as we want, which is super cool.
And my background is film, so like I'm used to the process of turning around and hiding gear and relighting sets, and we don't have to worry about any of that with the virtual camera because we can just finish a shot. We can get our our close-ups and get all those things, get our wide shots, get our
The timing's the
These
same
all
every
touch.
time.
Every time.
wow.
Always hitting their marks. So it's a very efficient tool to make digital scenes. So
And it's useful for set exploration as well. If you're in the scene, and because we have large game worlds, you can actually export a chunk of that world into.
the goggles too. This is another window we can use to get into the world.
Yeah.
These are augmented reality glasses. So basically, what that camera is seeing, so much similar to what you see in the virtual world from the camera, we can then put some glasses on where the director can then walk around and see his set. We chose this over VR glasses, so you don't have the dizziness, and you actually can see real world things.
You don't trip over stuff.
Yeah, you're tripping over things, and you're not getting sick. So basically, these will show what's showing up in
What's
there.
showing up on here.
And so even our actors, so they can walk through the sets before they act, because this is a very sterile environment for an actor to act in. But if we can give them a little window of what they're acting in, this is a tool to do that. So this is kind of new emerging tech that we're playing with. So it's
These guys have the coolest jobs. They play with all the cool toys. So aside from video games, we've also touched on some films as well, like Resident Evil, Ben-Hur, It, Stephen King's It. For Ben-Hur, we did the stadium, crowd filling for that. So basically, we had like 6 actors, I believe, and we have 4 to 6 actors, and then we just did them all in chunks, and eventually they were able to fill exactly what they needed, right? And then same thing, they got to go in with their cameras and virtual cams.
And today we have people in here, but we also can shoot animals. You want to cue that video there, Ian? Dog video?
Really, eh? Wow.
So, as well as dogs. In addition to our motion capture, we also do 3D scanning. So this is called photogrammetry, is what we have over in the corner here. I'm going to let Matt talk a little bit about that and what that system does. We built it in August of this year, so it's quite new to us. So yeah, take it away.
We have 125 Canon DSLRs in this array right here. So basically, You can get someone sitting down and just make the capture. So we have cameras specifically for that scan just the head. Or you can have a full body, so you can compose, and each camera takes a picture exactly the same moment. So basically it freezes things in time. So photogrammetry basically takes all the photos and you can stitch them together to make a 3D model. So you can see in the holographic fan there, we have a few scans that we've done. We did Brad's dog, Duke, my head's in there, and Edwin is the full body as well. So there's that's basically a raw scan. So with very little touch-up, the quality we're getting cuts down 3D modeler's time quite a bit. So basically what can happen is, say you want a shirt, this t-shirt in a game, instead of the 3D modeler having to take base and sculpting it down, we can just scan that shirt, which is a little bit of cleanup, but we can get assets into the game in about 3 days as opposed to 3 weeks. So it's quite a time-saving feature. We've also been getting into dental scanning as well. So you can take an actor that would be in the game. We'll do a teeth mold of them, and then we put their teeth in here, and then we scan it. So this is a fully automated system that basically will take quite a few photos, about 700 pictures that we'll do of the teeth, and we focus stack it. So what it is we take multiple pictures throughout the focus plane, stitch them all together, so we have a very, very focused image. Yeah, so there's my head right there. And yeah, this is basically photogrammetry.
The dental structure informs a lot of the mouth shapes when you're animating, and in a lot of games you just get like one size fits all kind of teeth that goes in the model. You got to see, like in Unity, you got to see just the teeth for a little while. That was a fun bug that everyone liked.
Yeah, so it really creates a real experience for the teeth in the actual game.
Yeah, it improves the facial animation, makes it much more believable and more real.
Real time?
Yeah.
Real time?
Yeah, well, we brought some actors today, so we need a volunteer. Who wants to be a camera person that's going to work one of our cameras? Volunteer? Okay.
Come on in!
Actually, we'll need another one too. Someone has to wrangle cable because this has to be like a real shoot. So we'll take two of you here. We'll pop this out of the
Oh my gosh, we got a control! Alright, so Brad will show you camera here. So basically we'll show you guys just a little scenario of how we normally shoot, say a cinematic scene or whatever. We have our actors.
Ramel's going to play your director.
In the beginning, we always tell everybody
give you some directions on what kind of camera you want.
What it does is it allows our animators and our team in post-production to know when the scene starts and also when it ends. So usually we'll say T-pose please, and then we'll say mocap ready, mocap will say rolling, I'll say first position, and they'll go action, camera, do your thing, start.
So what we have some set blocked out here. So we don't want to build the whole console because we don't want that occlusivity like I was talking to earlier. So we have just a piece of that set, and we have it lined up so when someone sets their hand on top of that table, they won't go through the actual plane of the geometry. So they can interact with that.
And also, as you can see, I am not visible on stage, but they are because they're wearing the X markers. So, I could just go ahead and push him, and you can see that he's just basically reacting to that, right? It's a little bit too hard.
It's like 10 o'clock in the morning.
I'm really excited about it.
If you were to carry this,
If I was holding this, then it would be just up this way, right? So, yeah. And normally when we start, we always have our props on the floor, and we always make sure it's all separated because, as you can see, there's a lot of markers, right? And our capture team here, we're basically in charge of making sure that the data that we capture are as clean as possible, because anything that's occluded or sort of mixed together, people in post, it's the difference between, basically filling the dots. It would be from a couple of minutes to several hours, right? Depending on what the action is.
And what Ramel was talking about earlier, where he's not seen in the virtual world, is really handy when we're doing stunts and gameplay. Because unlike in film, where you see everything that's in front of the camera, and you have to have your stunt people and your cable pullers and all of the safety people out of the shot. When we're doing stunts here, we can have people catching each other, we can have our cable pullers, we can have crash mats everywhere and make sure that all of our actors and stunt team is very, very safe. Except for Ivan, or Mel pushed Ivan.
Yeah, I really should not have.
I should not.
I don't know why I did that.
The thing I love most about this is the accurate depiction of my body shape.
Do you want to open up for questions?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, who has questions? Thank you very much. You're a very good camera operator.
Thank you.
Like, someone that's to the right and someone in the business
That's just an anomaly, I would say. This is a process we use for pre-visualization. It's called previs. So we're using this. This isn't actually how we deliver our data. What we normally do is we'll capture the data on. You saw the 2D markers I showed earlier. That will then get rigged into a skeleton. So you can see the skeleton here. And then that will go up to our post team upstairs, and they will then map the character on. So this is more of a display for us and for the directors and actors for previs. So.
It's a useful on-set tool.
Absolutely.
That helps us envision the scene.
Yeah. So, but the actual process is through, this is what actually we're delivering upstairs to the teams that are retargeting them to the actual game
We have
characters.
several lighting team, texture guys, they go over all of that stuff to make sure it's like the highest quality ever. That's it.
So do you do mostly cutscenes in this, or do you also capture like walking animations and things?
So yeah, so I mentioned earlier we do cinematics and gameplay. So cinematics would be all the cutscenes to help tell the narrative side of our game. And the gameplay side is basically our animation team to come in and figure out all the movements that they need, fight actions, fight sequences, and stuff like that, and battle combat scenes. Okay. Yes, sorry.
I'm curious, are the stripes on the suits used in calibration, or is that just
It's just to help us place where the markers should really go, but
We record reference video from all the multiple angles throughout the day, and when they're doing the animation, taking the skeletons onto the characters, sometimes they need to refer to that video, and just those lines, they help in lining up the character more correctly. So.
Just what is the background of the actors? Are they actors or dancers or athletes?
We get many types depending on the need of the production team, right? Because if we were doing actual scenes for cinematics, we've had Ivan and Roanna come in and play certain roles, right? And if we need stunt people, we've used people from several movies like X-Men, Hellboy.
We have a full stunt team up there. That's what the beam, so we can do all the rigging out the stunt team. We'll do full wire work and all that kind of stuff.
It really depends on the production needs and what type of talent and skill-wise they need.
Sorry? You get used to them, you really do.
It has to be very tight.
Pajamas.
Yeah, it's like spandex pajamas.
what kind of computing power is needed
Well, it's not like crazy. We do have high-end computers, definitely. But if these data, if the camera was sending grayscale information over all this from all the cameras, it would be massive computing power. Well, but because there's little computers on each camera, they're only sending us XY information. So they're only sending us coordinate data, and that way it can handle all that bandwidth of data that we don't need a supercomputer to run. So I think it's like a 12-core machine or something like that. So it is definitely a high-end computer, but not one the size of a room or anything. So
The math that it's doing to triangulate in 3D is actually really simple. It's basic trigonometry. Like the distance between two cameras. You can figure out exactly where something is in 3D space with that. Basic trigonometry.
Stay school.
You're just stay school. Sorry. Yeah.
What, this is for him, do you actually ever use children, or would you just shrink a grown actor?
You saw one of the scenes that we showed, right, for Assassin's Creed. That was played by a little boy.
Oh,
Yeah. And Stephen King's It. Most of the cast we had were children, and so
That was for pre-visualization.
yeah. Oh, right. Exactly.
there you go.
motion capture software itself? Do you develop that in-house, or is that something off the top of your list?
A little bit of both. So we have the cameras have their own company that named Vicon that does all of our software for the actual capture. But then we'll use like Motion Builder, Autodesk products. But it's we'll develop our own plugins to manipulate the data that we need to use it for our own purposes. So, yeah. Question?
Seems like a really small space. Do you have like space constraints?
What we do here is so you see the set. We'll have this set. This is actually a much bigger set than what our actually stage is smaller than the set we have. So we'll actually shift. We have the opportunity to be able to just shift the world. So we can do all the action on one side of the set, and then actually just shift the world, so we can then work on the other side of the set without having to move anything. Yeah.
We can also layer. So
Yeah.
if we're in one area and the main action is happening in one area, we can have that in the center of the scene and do the main stuff, and then the background characters, we just shift the set and layer them in afterwards, and they can be having their own conversation in the background.
So if you were shooting an earthquake scene, were you just waiting for the train to go by?
No, actually, we just go, whoa! Yeah, we actually had a helicopter crash in the most recent Far Cry, and we actually got a hydraulic motion platform with 13 stunt people and 1 actor on it, and shook it around, and people were falling off and getting chopped up and fighting and shooting. And
also we've had scenes where we're, certain actors were on a boat, per se, and we have prop masters who create the boat and make sure that, it's rigged in a way where it would sort of teeter-totter.
we have a horse. It's not in here right now, but we just have a big wooden thing that people can sit on, and it's a horse. Then we can push them around and shake it.
Basically, we just rig a pole, and we're just like tapping it to the back.
I think we have time for
One last one.
Last question, make it good.
how much are we? How much do they cost?
They're very expensive.
I wouldn't touch one. They're
6 cameras. 17,500.
For one?
One camera.
yeah. Don't try stealing any. They don't connect to anything except the other expensive things. they're pretty single purpose and a lot of proprietary connectors.
But they're not
which
the same
informs the
as
expense.
our high def cameras, not like the cameras that you're holding. They don't record that way. The only thing they see is basically the reflective light that's
They're basically little computers,
Yes.
and that's it. Computers and a sensor.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for
Thanks,
coming.
everybody.
That was great.